Have you noticed everything that you do in the Candlestick Bible, you do it, it doesn't work in real time? Why is that? You can make thousands of dollars overnight. But one of the negatives about that is, guess what? You can lose that shit. The name of the game is you want to stay in the game, right? You want to protect your capital, right? So you can live to fight another day. Guys, what has took me to a different layer of trade to where I was making $400, $500, $1,000 days, right? Was the mindset of whenever you're trading, there's gonna be about 4 different type of pairs you can trade, right? You can trade indices, you can trade currencies, right? You can trade energies, then you can trade cryptos, right? Indices are gonna be like NAS 100, SPX. If you trade futures, that's gonna be NQ. If you trade options, that's gonna be the QQQ, the GJA, SPX or SPY, right? Guys, all trading is the same shit, right? The only difference between futures, Forex, and options is the terminology. Options, the units of measurements when price is going up and down, is gonna be in points, right? Or you're taking a call or a put. Futures, the unit of measurements is gonna be ticks, right? It's just contracts, right? Forex, unit of measurements is gonna be pips, right? So when price is going up and down and it's fluctuating, that's pips, right? Either you're taking a buy or sell, right? There's pros and cons to each and every one of them, but guys, it's all the same shit. It's all the same chart. Once you understand how to read a chart efficiently, it doesn't matter, guys. You can go into Forex, you can go to options, you can go to futures, doesn't matter, right? I personally like Forex better, me personally, right? I just like it from a technical analysis better. Any questions? All right, cool. And everybody to go in, I'm gonna go through the exact same thing I went through here. We're gonna answer some questions, right? Then we're gonna go into the actual advanced strategies. I'm gonna show you exactly what I do and how I look at the market. Cool. So one thing I'm gonna go through is indicators as well too, right? Guys, I'm not really an indicator type of person, right? But guess what? So anybody that's new, if you're starting trading, you don't really know what direction of the trend, you don't have an idea, right? I'm gonna show you an indicator that you use. It's gonna show you the direction of where the trade is going, right? But let's go through the first part. We're looking at gold. This is a perfect example right here, right? All right, cool. So this is a great example of an uptrending market, right? What is price doing, guys? Simple.
Pictures.
It's making, so it's making higher highs, higher lows. This is a picture perfect example, and I'm gonna show you some picture perfect examples. Then I'm gonna show you some realistic examples. Guys, it's never gonna be pretty the way you look for it. In this situation, it's pretty, right? But it's not gonna be like that 99% of the time, right? But as you can see, exactly what I was saying on the board, what is price creating? This is an uptrending market, and what is it doing? Higher highs, higher lows. Higher highs, higher lows. Higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. Notice what price is doing right here, exactly what I said. You see how price is breaking down, breaking out the trend, right? What do we say before? Does that mean that price is in a what? Is it still in the uptrend or downtrend?
Still in the uptrend.
Exactly, right? Because this trend line right here, right? Guys, you can't be a robot and see that, oh, price is buying, price breaks the trend line, it's just gonna sell off. It doesn't work like that, right? Price most likely is still in a buying trend, it's just doing a bigger retracement, right? So that's an example of an uptrend. Now, one thing I want you to pay attention to is the same concept that I was talking before, right? Remember, I've always said, if price is in an uptrending market, like in this situation, see how price is buying up, right? Notice what happens when price gets to this resistance, right? Look what it always does. You're always going to see the exact same thing, right? Notice that price comes right here. What does it do? It sells off. Then what does it do? It comes back and retests. And notice what it does. It starts trending all the way down, right? Then price starts doing a downtrending market. Look what it does right here. This is just a support. This is a support level. Look, I'm just drawing out the resistance and support, right? This right here is a support level, right? You see this? Price is hitting the support level. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? Price is hitting the support level multiple times. Look what it's doing. When price came from this point, this is our resistance level, right? Notice the pattern that it did before it did the big reversal. You're always going to see some form, when price does a big reversal, of a head and shoulders, right? Or what? A double top. You're always going to see this. This is basic stuff, right? So what do we see from here in this situation? You see price hits the support, right? What do we see? Price pushes up. And what does it do? Come back, retest, right? Because what do we always see when price does a reversal point? It always likes to do a come back and retest, before it does what? Reverses and keeps going up. So price right now, I could say that it's in an uptrend, right? How do I know that price is in an uptrend? Right? I know that price is in an uptrend just due to the fact of what price is doing right here as far as the reaction. Price came all the way back up, came back and hit our retest on support, and now we're getting price making its way to the upside, right? So that right there is an example. I'll give you an example of a downtrending market. So what do an uptrending market? This is a downtrending market. Look what's happening right here. Price hits this resistance, comes back, what does it do? Retest. Anytime price hits a pivotal resistance or support level, it's always going to do a form of a what? Head and shoulders or a what? Double top. If it's at a support, it's going to do a what? Inverse head and shoulders or a what? Double what? Double bottom. Double top would be it's at a resistance going down. Double bottom is at a support going up. Those are called what? Trend what? Reversal patterns. Cool. Sweet.
I got a quick question.
Yeah.
What time frame would you suggest, like?
So whenever you're looking at a currency, you always want to look at a higher time frame to do an analysis. I always like to go 4 hour, 1 hour when I'm looking at a currency. Very rare am I ever looking at a 1 minute or a 5 minute on a currency, just because me personally, I've got faked out too many times, right? It's not volatile enough. The more volatility, so think of it like this. If I'm trading something that's much faster, right? Gold, NOS, right? In order for me to get into a trade, I need to look at a smaller time frame to get a real analysis, because guess what? Instantly you're in profit, instantly you go down just like this. You fuck up with a bad entry on gold, your stop loss is getting hit like that, right? Let's go straight into the strategy. Let's get into some basic stuff. I'm gonna talk about the strategies that I'll be doing, that I'll be using. Cool, so this is what I've been doing that's been really working for me, right? Cool, so the first key thing, right? You wanna identify the trend of what price is doing. So I'm gonna come back and replay this real quick. So let's focus on this picture right here, right? So in this picture right here, what do we get? In this situation, price is in a downtrending market, right? Obviously, you see that price is bearish, right? The DM price moving, that's bearish, right? So in this situation, as you can see, what do we get right here on the reversal? Price came up right here, it sold down, we got a retest, right? That retest, what is that telling me? The same concept that I told you right here at the top, what price is doing, right? It's super bearish at this resistance. Now we're making price making a lower low to the downside. So now we have the confirmation that price is at a downtrend. So whenever you see prices in a lower low downtrending markets, right? One thing that they teach you in the Candlestick Bible, they teach you about pin bars and reversals. You're always gonna hear about pin bars and reversals. Now, one thing I'm gonna leave you with is don't pay attention to everything that's in the Candlestick Bible. Focus on where the pin bar or where the candlestick is being placed, right? As far as the market structure. If I get a pin bar, right? If I get a pin bar like this at the top of a resistance, right? That has a higher chance of price reversing to the downside, right? Now, if price is in a trend, it's in the middle of a trending market. So if price is trending, right? So in this situation right here, this is my resistance, this is my support. If I'm getting pin bars, right? At the top of a resistance, that's giving me a higher chance of reversal, right? Now, if I'm getting pin bars, right? If I'm getting pin bars during the trend or while we're within the trend, that's more of a continuation pattern to the downside, right? So for this example right here, as you see prices to the downside, right? Notice what we get. Price is pushing up, and notice we get this pin bar right here, right? If this pin bar was down here at this point, you see where price, this is where price bought at. If we got the pin bar down here, where it was sticking down here, that would be a reversal. But because the pin bar was within the trend, right? We're gonna get price getting bearish price action to the downside. So what I normally do, right, is I look to my left and I look to see what is my previous high to the left, right? In this situation right here, that's where price is reversing, right? So now, when price does this pin bar, that's telling me that the price is gonna continue selling down in the downside. So what I wanna do, I wanna get into this price, I wanna get into this trade somewhere around this range right here, right? After the pin bar is created, and all I wanna do is look to my left, and I wanna look to what's the previous structure to the left as far as the high, and I want to look to the downside to keep going down as far as the trend, right? The way the strategy works, right, it's either going to hit majority of my take profits or it's going to hit my stop loss, right? Guys, what has took me to a different layer of trade to where I was making $400, $500, $1,000 days, right, was the mindset of being comfortable with my stop loss hitting, right? The strategy that I have right here, I call all my trades. This is what I'm doing day in and day out. I'm getting into the trade because I understand that price is in a downtrend, and then I'm getting this inverted pin bar. That's a fake out, right? To basically, what it's doing is making people think that price is going to continue buying to the reversal. In the candlestick bobber, you're always going to see something as far as if I have a pin bar at the bottom of a trend or something like that, it's going to reverse. That's not right, right? Who here follows the candlestick bobber, right? Have you noticed everything that you do in the candlestick bobber, you do it, it doesn't work in real time? Why is that, right? Guys, I do the strategy. All I'm doing is if I'm identifying the trend, if I'm getting a pin bar, right, sticking up to the upside, right, and it's not at a major support level, that's telling me that's a continuation and the bigger sales coming. All I'm looking to do is put a stop loss to the left. I can either use this EMA right here, right, or put a stop loss to the left and I'm getting a continuation to the downside, right? So this is the kind of example that I got right here, right? You're gonna start seeing price working its way to the downside. So in this situation, right, I'm trading with the trend, right? I'm trading with the trend, but I'm putting myself in a position to where when price does work to the downside, I could then move my stop loss to break even and make it risk free because it's either gonna hit my stop loss, right, into profit after I get into profit, right, or it's gonna hit all my take profits, right? So the key thing that I can leave you with, I wish I had a little more time, right? Mentality and mindset, right? Whenever you're getting into a trade, one, you need to calculate the amount of risk of whatever you're risking, right? And then you gotta have the philosophy, okay, worst case scenario, if this trade was to go through, am I okay with the fact that I'm going to lose that money, right? When you're able to accept losses into your trading plan and implement those things, right, you're able to go forward with the next day. The worst thing that you could do for yourself is find yourself losing unnecessary money. That's gonna mess up your mindset for you, or the mindset for you to get into the next trade and keep trading, right? The name of the game is you want to stay in the game, right? You want to protect your capital, right? So you can live to fight another day. Who here has for some strange reasons, the days you lose and you blow your account, it's the easiest trade setups that come the next day, right? The easiest trade setups come the next day, right? Guys, you got to be able to withstand because there's going to be days in trading that's just give them wins, right? But you got to protect yourself so when those days come, you can actually be able to take advantage, right? Guys, you're not going to win every single trade. You're not going to have winning days, and there's some days you're not even going to take a trade. You have to be okay with the fact that every day is not a trading day, right? I wish I had a little bit more time, right?
I think maybe open it for
Any questions? Any questions?
Kind of like two questions. So, man, with your strategy and what you're doing, I see that you put your stop loss like kind of like where the look to the left or seeing the previous resistance and the full counter is right there. Where you like target for your TP, and also where at what point would you go versus you?
At what point did I right there? Okay. So perfect example, let's do it right here. Right? So in this situation right here, right? Whenever you see this candle right here, this is a continuation candle right here, right? Most people are gonna think this is a reversal, right? Guys, that's not a reversal. Anytime you see a doji in the middle of a trend, you always have to ask yourself, what's happening, right? And where's price at? You see, this is my resistance and this is my support, right? So identifying as far as price, this right here, this is inside the trend. This is the top of the resistance, right? The same rules for a candle, right, doesn't apply when I'm inside the trend. What do I mean by that? Guys, you can have a bearish engulfing where price does some this right here, and because it's inside the trend and it's not at the bottom at a support or resistance, guess what price is gonna do? In the candlestick Bible, you're taught that price is gonna sell whenever you see a bearish engulfing. That's not legitimate, it's not real, right? If price is inside the trend, this is my support, this is my resistance, right? Price is in the trend. What do I mean by that? This is my zone. This is within the zone, right? If it's at a support, the rules are or resistance, a bearish engulfing holds more weight for reversal. right? If I'm inside the trend, this is more of a continuation to the upside, right? Same thing with a doji, right? If I get a doji at the top of a resistance, right, that can mean that price is exhausted. That means it has a higher chance of a what? Reversing, right? But now if I'm getting a doji in the middle of a trend, what is that? That's a continuation, right? So wherever market structure is key. Because wherever price is at a resistance or support and you're getting candlesticks, right? That's going to be the deciding factor on how the candlestick works, right? If I'm getting a doji in the middle of a trend, that's continuation. If I'm getting a doji at the bottom of a support, that's exhaustion, right? If I'm getting a bearish engulfing in the middle of a trend, that's what? Continuation. If I'm getting a bearish engulfing at the top of a resistance, that's a what? Reversal. It has a higher chance. So now me knowing that, what are we getting right here? We're getting this doji, right? So you see this right here? What is that? We're getting a doji, right? So in this situation, all I want to do, I want to get into this trade. Anything under this doji is a discount, right? I want to get into this trade. I'm just looking to put it under the low, and I'm looking to ride the continuation to the upside. Guys, you do that, my philosophy is either going to smack my stop loss or it's going to hit my take profits. Guys, I'm in trades right now, but I have the confidence, right, where I'm not bothered looking at my phone because I understand that I've already done my analysis. It's either going to hit my stop loss or it's going to hit my take profits. But how do I get to this point? Guys, you got to get comfortable and detach yourself away from the money, right? How do you detach yourself away from the money? You got to trade money that you're willing to lose. So my philosophy, right, is whenever I'm trading, I'm never trading my last. If I got $1,000 to my name, I'm never trading $1,000. Because what is that going to do? That's going to put unnecessary stress. But anybody that's a beginner, right? I'm never trading rent money. I'm never trading my money for my car note, right? You got to trade extra money, even if it's little, right? Because that right there is going to help you, right? Make smart decisions over a long period of time, and you're taking the emotions out of the game, right? Guys, when you come into this game, you got to remember you're coming into a game where it's complete freedom, right? The beauty in that is, guys, you can make thousands of dollars overnight. But one of the negatives about that is, guess what? You can lose that shit, right? I've been on that side where I've lost everything, lost that shit, right? So you got to make rules for yourself every single day when you trade, right? So that way you can live to fight another day, right? Because if you just, do everything right and then one day you just crash out, all that work that you did, all those days of stacking wins go out the window, right? I'd rather make a consistent $5, $10, $15 a day than to make $100, then down 40, then up to 200, then down 90, then I blow my account. It negates everything that you did in the past, right? It's just consistency, right? Staying disciplined to consistently do that, right? And then remembering to do what? Pay yourself along the journey. If I made $500 on the week, right? And I know normally in my job I'm only breaking $600, $700 a week. Guess what? I need to take half of that and pay myself, right? You got to sometimes see the money to believe it, right? I'm a firm believer. You got to sometimes see the bread to believe it. One of my boys, his name's Tracy, he made a great point. He said you want to build your bank account, right, before you start building your trading account, right? Put money up. The money that you're making from trading or the money that you're making, put money away to the side, right? So you have a peace of mind when you're trading, right? Guys, you're coming into a game where it's a rich man's game, right? This is a capital game. You gotta have capital to play, right? So put yourself in a better position so you can make smart decisions over a long period of time. And how do you do that? You put money to the side away, guys, because what it's gonna do is gonna clear up your mental. So now if I'm only trading $300 out of the $3,000 I have to my name, if God forbid I go fuck up, guess what? My life is not over. I'm not scrambling to pay bills. Guys, I put myself in bad situations, right? Now, granted, it all worked out, right? But the games, you don't want to put unnecessary stress on yourself, man. You're coming into a game that already you're at a disadvantage because you don't have capital, right? Take the pressure off yourself. Trade money you can afford to lose. It's not about the money, right? I used to say that. I used to think, oh, it's about the money. It's all about the money. It's not about the money, guys. It's about showing up for yourself every day, staying committed to your goals, staying committed, believing in yourself, right? Applying yourself day in and day out, showing up for yourself every single day. The money is what you follow when you do that. And I used to hear niggas say that all the time. And I used to be like, oh, shut the fuck up. I ain't trying to hear that. But guess what? Once I started implementing that into my life, I started seeing a change, right? And it starts with your day-to-day habits, right? Your energy levels, what you speak, the words you speak in your life, right? It all starts. Everything matters. It's not a coincidence we're all here today, right? It's everything is detailed. Everything matters, right? You put positive vibrations out. You speak life into what you do. Guess what? Eventually those things are going to start to show. If I put good things into my body, that's going to give me energy, right? And it's going to make me clear and have a better peace of mind when I'm trading. Guess what? Eventually those things are going to show. But if I keep doing negative, bad shit, right? Guys, I had to change everything around me before the profits even came, right? This is a mental game. You got to change everything around you, and then the profits are going to eventually follow when you keep showing up and you still keep staying consistent and you keep feeding yourself good shit, right? Putting good things into your mental, that's going to help you long term, right? Now, I don't got too much time, but hey, I hope you learned something.
Wow, round of applause. You guys got some value? At the Traders Unite Mastermind? Yeah, we having a party. Listen, I want you guys to give yourself a round of applause because you're still here right now. Give yourself a round of applause. Listen, some people ate, some people left, but listen, the winners stay until the job is done. Who stays until the job is done?
Winners.
The what?
Winners.
Okay, you guys having a good time? Okay, cool. I want you guys to hear about. The intermission that I want to do right now is super, super important because I want everybody here to get this information first, and then you guys can kind of hear from other products, okay? We just kind of went into like this trading mentality, this trading feel, which is the reason why you guys are here today, okay? And so, like I said, my name is Paulina. I'm head of partnership with Genesis, okay? When you want to be a profitable trader, when you want to be a successful trader, the broker that you trade with is important, okay? A lot of people may not do that. A lot of people may not say that. A lot of people may not think about that or even talk about that, but I'm a little bit different. I'm going to stand here in front of 70 of you guys and let you know that Genesis sponsored this event because we want traders on the broker. We want profitable people on the broker. We want hungry people on the broker, okay? And so the next 10, 20 minutes, I want to share you guys with what Genesis is doing on the tools for traders, okay? Not like this is so weird, right? Like I was on a conversation with someone the other day and I was like, yeah, I'm on tour. We're doing a tour. Genesis is sponsoring these events. And you know, this person kind of runs their own platform and they sell products and they're like, wow, I'm on tour as well. I was like, yeah, we're both on tour. And they're like, who goes on tour for a broker? I was like, it's because you don't understand. That's why you're asking me that question. A lot of brokers don't have phenomenal products for traders. We're willing to invest into events like these because we want to take you to your biggest goals.